America has a world-class football player. His name is Mateo Reyes. He grew up in a small apartment outside Los Angeles. By 10, he was gliding past older kids. He was seeing passes before they opened and controlling a ball like it was tied to his foot. Coaches at a local park said he was special, the kind of special you can't teach. But Mateo never joined an elite academy. His mother couldn't afford the club fees. His father worked weekends, so there was no one to drive him to tournaments. He kept playing locally, far from the scouts, the showcases, the teams that mattered. At 14, he quit. Today, Mateo Reyes doesn't play for the United States. He doesn't play for Real Madrid or Manchester City. In fact, Mateo Reyes does not exist. The thing is, thousands of players like him might actually exist. If you've watched the first 15 minutes of the movie Goal, you'll see where I got the inspiration from. But Mateo is invented, but everything that stops him isn't. You'd assume that soccer or football would eventually bend to that machine, not dominate every World Cup, not produce a Messi every 10 years, but at least build a men's team that feels like one of the true powers. A team with depth everywhere, a team that doesn't just look organised and brave, but looks frightening. And yet, most of the time, the United States still looks merely decent. Good enough to qualify, good enough to fight, good enough to make a knockout game, and still capable of getting beaten 4-1 by Belgium. When people ask why, the answer usually turns into a culture argument. Kids like basketball more. Baseball got there first. Soccer is still fighting for attention. Henry Bushnell, writing about American soccer, put it very bluntly. The main reason, in his view, comes down to one word: culture. So we're gonna run Mateo's life again, slowly this time, and watch exactly where the system loses him. A 10-year-old like Mateo doesn't just become a soccer player by being good at soccer. He has to enter a system, and the system has a cost. $883 may not sound impossible if you're talking about a family with extra money, 2 cars, flexible weekends, and parents who already know how youth sports works. But for another family, that's rent pressure, that's groceries, that's the car repair, that's the thing you can't risk spending if the kid might quit in 6 months, or if his younger sister needs something too. In American soccer, the first scout is often the family bank account. Don't make the mistake of thinking that he means equipment. It's about permission. Mateo can love the ball, he can play every day, he can be the best player at the park, but if the main pathway runs through paid clubs, then love isn't enough. Talent isn't enough. Even work may not be enough, because before anyone asks how good he is, the system asks whether his family can keep paying. The filter starts before the dream gets a name. And if a kid like Mateo gets through the first door, the next door moves farther away. Now it's not just soccer, it's travel soccer. It's the weekend calendar. It's the parent who can drive 2 hours. It's the hotel room. It's the tournament fee. It's the snacks, the gas, the missed shift, the sibling sitting in the back seat, the whole family slowly bending around one child's schedule, and Mateo is 10. Tom Ferry from the Aspen Institute Sports and Society program has described the team travel environment for 8, 9, 10 and 11-year-olds as out of control, with a lot of money being made. John Solomon, also connected to the Aspen Institute's work, has called it an up or out model. You're moving up the competitive ladder, or often you're pushed out because you don't have the money. That phrase, up or out, is brutal because it sounds like a corporate job, but it's being applied to children. The American pathway asks children to prove commitment by buying access, because in theory and from the outside, it can look like a choice. One family chooses the elite club, another family chooses not to. One kid keeps playing, another kid disappears. On paper, nobody blocked him. Nobody stamped rejected on his forehead, and that's how it's usually justified, but the choices aren't equal. If your parents work weekends, the tournament world is different. If your family has one car, the travel world is different. If you live far from the right club, the exposure world is different. If your parents don't speak the language of American youth football, the whole ladder is different. In American soccer, spending money is treated as a test of seriousness, of commitment. Now put Mateo somewhere else, not in some perfect football paradise, because those don't really exist. Every country has politics, missed players, bad coaches, favoritism, pressure, and kids who fall through. But in a more open system, the first step is less tied to a family's ability to buy a pathway. Charlie Dennis, who came through Southampton's academy and later played for Phoenix Rising, gave a very simple comparison. In England, he said, he didn't pay anything. He didn't have to pay anything at all. That's huge. Taking nothing away from Charlie Dennis, he walked through a completely free door. Mateo had to stand outside a paid one. It's not because England develops every player perfectly. It doesn't. It's not because academies are soft or easy. They're not. But because a free door changes the size of a room. A free door sees more kids than a paid one. Charlie Dennis also said that British academies give everyone a look. And in general, they look at a bigger pool of players. And it lines up with all of the research we've done. More open institutions abroad will create bigger talent pools and more international success. It sounds obvious, but it's one of those obvious things that gets lost. Rare talent is by definition rare. So if your net is smaller than it should be, you can still catch good players. You can even catch very good players, but you're making the miracle harder. And that's why the American comparison is so frustrating. The country has the population, it clearly has the athletes, it has the facilities, it has the money, but the money is often on the wrong side of the door. In a lot of the world, a talented kid can be a cost worth absorbing because the club wants the player. It pays for itself, either in performances or in transfer fees. In the American youth model, too often, the kid is the customer, and that one switch changes the whole story. The most damaging part of a filter is that you don't always see what it removed. You see the kids who made the team, you see the showcase tournament, you see the clean uniforms and the parents on folding chairs, you see the college commitments, the rankings, the highlight clips, the kids who stayed inside the machine long enough to be counted. You don't see the other part of the soccer world. Les Carpenter described it as a world played by immigrant kids or lower income kids that never really saw the light of day. No matter how good their leagues or games were, they were playing soccer but they weren't part of the bigger system. That's Mateo's league. Good games, real talent, but nobody important watching. To be honest, it upsets me, because America's soccer advantage should be its mix. It should be the Mexican kid in Southern California. It should be the Salvadoran kid in Maryland, the Ghanaian kid in the Bronx, the suburban kid with private coaching, the pickup player, the futsal kid, the late grower, the kid whose parents don't know the pathway, but his feet do. Instead, parts of the pathway can become very narrow. The filter doesn't just cut individuals, it cuts whole neighborhoods. High schools used to be a more public donor. Not perfect, not elite everywhere, not the answer by itself, but public, local, easier to find if you didn't have money for the club maze. If that door closes and the paid door becomes the main door, then the player pool doesn't just get smaller, it gets more predictable. And predictable is definitely not how you find the kid who changes everything. The next great American player might already be playing. The system just might not be watching. So why does this filter stay in place? Well, part of it is that youth soccer in America isn't one clean machine. It's a crowded market. Clubs, leagues, tournaments, showcases, rankings, trainers, travel teams, camps, uniforms, and all the small businesses that grow around anxious parents and ambitious kids. Tom Ferry has put it into sharp terms. He said it's primarily a system set up to use kids to make money for adults. It's a quite simple way to put it, but it's a hard thing to hear. And it doesn't mean that every coach is cynical. A lot of coaches care deeply, a lot of clubs are trying, a lot of players are doing their best inside the world they've been handed. But the incentives still matter. The business model and the talent model are pulling in different directions. If the goal is talent development, you want broad access, patient coaching, local play, enough challenge, enough joy, and a system that doesn't punish families for being poor or busy. If the goal is revenue, you want teams, fees, tournaments, travel, upgrades, pressure, and a constant feeling that if a family doesn't buy the next level, their kid will fall behind. And that feeling is powerful. That's the balance. Families pay more, kids play further away. Adults build more products, and the country still wonders why the national team isn't better. The machine is busy, but busy isn't the same as smart. By the time a kid like Mateo is 16, the filter has done years of quiet work. Maybe he did make it, maybe his parents paid, maybe he found the right coach, maybe a scholarship opened, maybe a community program helped, maybe he lived close enough to the right club, maybe he got seen at the right tournament. maybe everything lined up, but maybe not. And Mateo didn't make it. At 14, remember, he quit. The system wore him down. That's why this warning matters. There will be children out there lost to a system, players who never even had the opportunity to play at that level. That's the real cost, not just one missed player, but a whole set of unknowns. The question isn't how many athletes America has, it's which athletes the system lets through. Because the United States can produce good soccer players from this model. It already does. You can build a respectable team from kids who survived the maze. You can create strong athletes, solid professionals, organized squads, and moments that make the country believe something bigger is coming. But world-class development is not just about polishing the kids who arrive, it's about making sure the right kids arrive in the first place. And if the path to elite soccer depends too much on club fees, travel access, parental time, college exposure, and the right zip code, then the country is not really asking who's the best. It's asking who can stay in the room long enough to be judged. That's why the absurd question has a less absurd answer. America has bodies, it has money, it has ambition, it has kids who love the ball. What it doesn't have, not consistently enough anyway, is a pathway that sees all of them. So I'm asking you to keep an eye out. The next time you see the US men's team look good, but not great, don't just look at the players on the field. Look at the kids who never got through the filter. Because somewhere outside Los Angeles, there's a 10-year-old right now gliding past older kids, seeing passes before they open, and it's a real one this time. The question is whether anyone who matters is actually watching. I really enjoyed making this video. If you liked it too, and if you've made it this far, then I assume you did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It motivates me to keep doing what I enjoy doing. It's free, and it means that you guys will get more videos just like this.